Hello and welcome to City Corner. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. On today's show, we have Terea Goodwin from O'Fallon Park Rec Center and Kevin Lemp from the Hands Brewing Co to tell us about some of the great things they're doing in the community here in St. Louis. So stay with us for City Corner, coming up next on STL TV. Our first guest today is the head swim coach at the O'Fallon Park Rec Center and leading the Makos Swim Club for the last 10 years. This time we welcome Terea Goodwin to City Corner. Terea, thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you.
I tell you, there's not a whole lot of swim clubs here in the St. Louis area, especially ones starting off in the fall. We generally don't talk about swimming going into the fall, but your program is year-round.
It is. We go from September all the way until March, and those are our competitive times. And then we do summer recreational, but we're all year round.
So you've been swimming for quite some time. I read where you've been in the water swimming since you're like 5 years old, and you come from the other side of the state, don't you?
Yep, Kansas City, Missouri. I started swimming at 5 at the YMCA, actually. And then someone seen me swim and said, hey, you should join my swim team. Never heard of a swim team before. I said, okay. Probably was about 6, 7 at that time. And I did it all the way to college.
Wow.
I didn't swim in college, but I didn't swim up to college.
Yeah, but so you swam competitively that whole time.
I did.
How important do you think it is for youth to swim? Because I remember summer camp was the place I learned how to swim. And I could do the spins and push-offs and everything and breathe right. But when I got older, I didn't stick with it. And, you know, I could barely tread water.
You'll never forget how to swim. So It's like riding a bike. But it's very important to swim, especially because water is all around us. So our basic skills, survival skills, most important thing, because so many youth, I think the ages 5 and under is #1 death or drowning. So if we can get them babies in the water as soon as possible just to save themselves. And so I do a lot of just save yourself classes.
You know, I tell you what, there is a lot of waterways. I mean, you've got the Mississippi River. I don't know, a lot of people swim downtown,
right.
you know, with all the swells and things. But we have a lot of rivers and streams and things. And, you know, there's some areas where families will go out and their kids will wander in the water. And the next thing you know, they're being pulled out and they don't know how to swim. So how important is it to teach these kids to swim?
#1, if you teach your kids how to cross the street, teach them how to swim. You teach them to look both ways, teach them how to save themselves in the water. It's #1, it's so important.
Now, with the O'Fallon Park Rec Center at YMCA, you have a program there called the Makos Swim Club. Could you discuss that a little bit? Because it sounds like you're making some ground roads and breaking barriers here in St. Louis.
We are. We started, it's almost 10 years, not quite 10 years yet, but we started with kids learning during swim lessons. They had to learn how to swim first. So we was like, how are we gonna do a swim team? And their kids don't even know how to swim. They didn't even know what swimming was. They never heard of a swim team. So we took them from swim lessons, then we built on that, and then we did recreational swim. So from recreational swim, we was like, they're getting a little good. Let's start doing competitive. So all our coaches are certified. We had to make sure the kids was registered to swim. We became the YMCA. We became YMCA certified coaches and swim club first. Of course, we part of the Y. And then we did the competitive, and now years and years later, we just became USA. So now we just...
You guys are becoming big time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that recreation is during the summer months. And right now, recently, September, your competitive schedule started.
Yeah.
What are the ages that the kids can compete competitively? And can you tell us about some of your recent meets?
Our youngest is 4. I have a 4-year-old.
Really?
Yes, I've been working with her since she was 2. So only thing they have to do is get down 1 lap. So it don't have to be gorgeous. They just got to go down the lap on their front and their back, and hey, come on, we'll work and we'll build on that. So we started our competitive. We just had a swim meet this past weekend at the St. Peter's Rexplex.
Nice place.
This was our first meet of the season. The kids did absolutely amazing. Everyone, and my number one thing is, let me see you drop time from your best. From your last best, we need to make a new best. So every kid dropped 15, 20 seconds, 3 seconds. Some drops just milliseconds. It don't matter. That means I know they put they all into it.
And you got some ribbons and medals, I would assume?
They didn't get any ribbons and medals at this meet, but they did make their personal best.
They made their personal best.
Yes.
So this is interesting, and you're breaking barriers here. Aren't most of the kids, if not all, African American on your swim club?
Yes, they are. We went from 6, I probably had 6 or 7 kids on my team, to 16, to 20, to 30, now I'm up to 40.
You're up to 40 already,
40 kids, so every year we just grow, and grow.
And I'm assuming that during the recreational part, you can get some of the kids there and say, hey, you're swimming pretty good. Maybe you should join the fall league.
Yes, that's how I end up starting. So I have the recreational summer league just to get to introduce them to it, make it so fun that they don't want to leave. And in our competitive league, they could get disqualified or got infractions. But in the summer recreational, they don't have to worry about that.
Now, I was reading something neat that you had your meet in St. Peter's, and you're going to have several more locally if you could share those with us. And then you're going to be traveling a little bit. How exciting is that?
We are. Our next meet is actually going to be in Belleville, Illinois, the Yossi Halloween Invitational. Then we have another Halloween Howl. That's going to be in Lafayette. And
Lafayette High School?
Lafayette High School. We're in Wisconsin. This is going to be our first out of state, besides Illinois, but far distant meet. So that's exciting. The kids was exciting. We're trying to raise enough money to get a bus and get us there. So
if someone wants to donate or participate in your program, what would they need to do?
They'll call O'Fallon Park and Rec YMCA, say I want to donate to the Makos Swim Team. We have Cash App, and that's Makos Swim, $ Makos Swim.
Okay.
And
so right now, the kids, do they pay themselves,
yes,
their families, to be a part of this?
Yeah, they have to pay themselves, or we try to do fundraisers. They did a popcorn fundraiser, which helped pay for some uniforms, but the cost can get a little up there. So
now, being involved with the YMCA, there's certain principles. What are some of the core principles that you like to instill in these young swimmers through the YMCA and Makos?
Definitely respect. They all have to respect one another. Let's see. Caring, honesty, and responsibility. We make sure all of them, the parents like to do everything for them. No, I don't let the parents on the deck. I say, no, this is their time to grow up, be responsible for their own belongings, their own things. So, and I also make sure they have to respect one another as teammates.
Well, it seems like the parents are very involved. We spoke with a lady, I think Connie Johnson. And she was so excited. She's like, I'm just a parent, but I'm so excited for the kids. And she's trying to get the word out. And, you've been getting some pretty good publicity. I saw some nice features at some different news organizations around town. And it must be a fun time for Makos Swim Club.
It is. The kids are so excited. And they just and it's just so good to see a majority African-American swim team, because, we're not known to be in the water a lot. Even if we go to the meets, we're the only. You may see a couple African-Americans on different teams. They could have 500, 600 kids on one team. And it'd be 2. And then it's our team.
We got a pretty nice assistant. Tori, could you tell us a little bit about her? I know she had some time over at Pattonville.
Yeah, she did. And she came in. Because I was doing it alone. And there 20, 30 kids by myself was getting a little bit too much. But she came in. She's very strict. She gets everything, make sure all my paperwork is done. She works mainly with the little bitty kids, the beginners, so it's good, and she's close to their age than I am then.
So when and where do you practice?
We practice at the O'Fallon Park and Rec YMCA by O'Fallon Park.
So then like Monday through Thursday there, and then on Friday you go somewhere else, don't you?
Yes. Monday through Fridays we are at the Y. We practice 5 days a week, and then on Fridays we're at Bear YMCA because they have diving blocks. When they built our Y, they didn't expect us to swim, to be on a swim, or even have a swim team. So we find another close YMCA so our kids can have the advantage to know how to, our starts.
Now with the groups 4 to 18 or whatever, how do you categorize them? Are they, in different areas? I know they can't probably all be out there at the same time.
No. So I have to categorize them by skill level and age. So I have a A and a B group. My A group, because they can be a white A or white B. That means they got the same skill level, but they're different ages. I learned not to try to combine the ages, not have a 5-year-old with an 18-year-old. It didn't work out too well.
Well, we're excited for you. We got some great travels coming up the kids are excited about. One more time, any final thoughts, or could you give a plug to the website or how someone can sign up for the Makos Swim Club?
Okay. Yes, if you want to come in, just come try out at the O'Fallon Park YMCA. If you want to donate, please come to the YMCA, donate. We can use any donations you have, and come out and watch. If you can come out and watch us.
314-932-1423. Terea Goodwin, thank you so much for joining us today on City Corner, and good luck, and good luck with that funding too. It's a great program for a great cause as well.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break now, but stay with us as Kevin Lemp from Hands Brewing is going to be with us when we return. So stick around.
Man, it's lonely. Going through life lonely.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to City Corner. I'm Todd Blackstock. Our second guest today is the president and CEO of Hands Brewing Co. And this time we'd like to welcome Kevin Lemp to City Corner. Kevin, thanks for joining us today. And it seems like Hands has been around for quite some time. I was at a restaurant just last night, and the Divided Sky IPA was flowing through the taps, and I know that's great news for you and this St. Louis-based company.
Yeah, I love to hear that always. Yeah, established in 2011. We've been having a ton of fun. Yeah, we love it.
So what's your background in, in livelihood, spirits and hops and things like that? What made you want to be a brewer?
That's an interesting question. So actually, up until this day, I've never brewed a batch of beer. But I started in this industry at Gallo Winery. Gallo Winery is kind of the equivalent of Anheuser-Busch in the wine world. I worked for Gallo for a decade, and the last year and a half there, started writing the business plan for Four Hands Brewing Company. Always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I joke and say, khakis more my wardrobe than suit and tie. But I love the mission of small batch beer. I felt that there was an opportunity, and I wanted to jump off and do it on my own.
With the Anheuser-Busch takeover from InBev, a while back, it seemed to open up some options for other breweries, especially like in the Soulard area. It wasn't only Anheuser-Busch anymore. Now it seems like the craft beers and some small breweries and family-owned businesses have more of an opportunity to, get into the niche of the brewing business.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think that was a product of timing. As you're looking at 2008 to 2012, at the coast, massive growth in small batch beer. And you knew eventually it was going to make its way into the Midwest. And I think that a lot of that was timing. But when we opened up in 2011, that class of 2011 was us, Urban Chestnut, Perennial, and Civil Life. It was 4 small batch microbreweries opening up at the same time, which in this market we had just never seen before. And that really became the catalyst at a local level of what we're at today, over 50 breweries in a 50-mile radius. And it seems like everybody's thriving, so.
Beer used to be, you'd have beer and then light beer.
Yeah.
And then maybe like a malt or something like that. And over the last 10, 15 years, the craft beers have really come out. It's almost like, people go to wine tastings to drink, to sample different types of wines, sweet wines, dry wines, red, white. And now it's kind of like that with the craft beers, because you've got IPAs, and you've got pale ales, and you've got lagers, and, and so forth. So it's almost becoming like a craft and like a thing to do, especially with the younger crowd.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when you look at craft breweries, you're kind of staying in a lane, but I would say that we, at Four Hands, we're more whimsical in our approach. We like to be outside of that box and get creative and innovative.
So Four Hands has been very successful as its base here in St. Louis, and you've recently expanded out into the county, and I know you're planning some future expansions as well.
Yeah, so we're in expansion mode right now. So we're expanding at the LaSalle Park location with a new production bay and in-house storage. We're really excited about that. Really, that expansion is based on efficiencies. We just opened up a second location in the district in Chesterfield. And then Q1 of next year, we'll be opening up our Kirkwood location.
Nice. So I was reading the menu. I think it was from the Kirkwood store, from Chesterfield in the district over there by the factory and Top Golf in that area over there. And it seems like you've paired up with a restaurant that really serves comfort food like hamburgers and bologna and chicken wings and stuff like that.
Yeah, we like to stay and focus on what we feel that we're good at, and food isn't a part of that equation. So in Chesterfield, we teamed up with our friends at High Point, and they manage all the food service. At LaSalle Park location, it's Kevin Nash and the team at Peacemaker. And then when we open up Kirkwood Q1 of next year, that'll be run by Peacemaker as well.
About 5 years into your tenure with Four Hands, it seems like you began becoming a corporate citizen and started pairing up with some different charities and doing some really things. I know there's several, so you could kind of take it away from here.
Yeah, we've always said, and one of the mission statements is more than beer. We've always strived to be more than just beer. And so we created Citywide, which is a philanthropic brand, it's our flagship brand, and it's the brand that we talk about at the brewery. We get goosebumps. We've raised over $350,000 for city-based nonprofits through the sales of Citywide. For every case we sell, we donate $1. We've worked with over 24 nonprofits throughout the city. And this year we're working with LaSalle Park, which is the neighborhood where the brewery resides. We're working with RETAF, City League, and the Kransberg Art Foundation. RETAF is a program through City Hall. You have homeowners in the city that are about to lose their homes because of unpaid taxes. RETAF pays that tax so that the residents can stay in their home. City League is a really awesome nonprofit that is just really focused on city sports for children, which is super important, right? Like making sure that kids have an outlet and staying active. The Kransberg Art Foundation, we all know about them and just how they're such pioneers in the arts of St. Louis City. And then with Statewide, which we introduced 2 years ago, we wanted to take Citywide and that mission and just make it a little bit larger. And so Statewide, we've teamed up with Veterans Community Project. Veterans Community Project is based in Kansas City. They are in the process now of finishing up their St. Louis location, which is off North Grand. And everybody, you know, you look into Veterans Community Project, you see the villages that they're building for these veterans to get them off the street. Once you go in there and really understand what that nonprofit is and understand all the back-end resources, you really fall in love with them. Great leadership, awesome mission, and now have a home in St. Louis.
Here's a look right here at some of the small houses and tiny house communities you're building for veterans. Can you walk us through this right here and tell us how the program works, because we do have a homeless crisis in our country, and veterans are at the top of that homeless crisis. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. And, so you've got a 12 to an 18-month program with Veterans Community Project, and they've been unbelievably thoughtful because it's not just a warm bed and a roof. They've got all of these different programs on the back end to make sure that these men and women, when they leave the housing, they're set up for success. They've gone as far as to even bring in pet grooming, because a lot of the homeless, a lot of the veterans, they're on the street right now, and they've got that pet, and that pet's really dear to them, and they don't want to leave that pet. So the Veterans Community Project, they've really thought of everything to make sure that it's a well-rounded and robust nonprofit to help those men and women. So what different groups are you working with as we look at some more, look at this picture right here of these houses. They look tiny from the outside, but they're spacious enough on the inside to where people can live a quality life. It's everything you need, and I think that that's another thing about Four Hands Brewing Company and the philanthropy, right? We're not just giving a check. We're rolling up our sleeves, and we're really trying to make a difference and build a relationship with these nonprofits. And we've had a couple of days where we've been at the St. Louis location painting and really trying to make a difference more than just a check. It seems like each one of these little houses, they have a bed, a desk, a TV, a kitchen. Are there water facilities on site, or do they have to go outside? No, they have a small kitchenette. They've got common area. They've got, it's a campus. Just think of it as a small campus. There's meeting rooms. There's counseling support. There's job training. It's super well-rounded. Wow, what intrigues me is your relationship with the city of St. Louis. So you've actually been working with different government agencies here and in cooperation, a symbiotic relation to make this a better place for the homeless and everyone. Well, we also have taken the approach that we want to be a pillar of our community. This is our home, and we really care deeply about it. We want St. Louis to be the best version of St. Louis it can be. And selfishly, working with all these nonprofits really educates us on different opportunities that we can, try and focus and help. Do you keep a 6-pack or a 4-pack a Citywide as like a housewarming gift for some of the veterans moving into these tiny homes? I would say the customers have reacted so well to Citywide, right? It's not because of us. It is because of the customer that makes Citywide so impactful. Every case we sell, we donate $1. Citywide's the #1 selling craft beer brand in St. Louis. It's the #1 selling pale ale. And because of that support from the customer, it gives us the opportunity to this $350,000 we've given back. One day that's going to be $1 million. And we're really excited about that. I was at a concert a few weeks ago in Park Hills, Missouri, and Citywide was their featured beverage for that evening. I love it. Yeah, how about that? Let's go back a little bit about teaming up with some corporate sponsors. I know that you guys must be selling a lot of product because of all the donations and giving back to the community. But before the show today, you got to meet Terea Goodwin from the Makos Swim Club, and they're looking for some ways to get funding and things like that. And you were nice enough to offer up your contact information. That's kind of like the programs you're looking for. Just anything that can help the city and to
to partner up with?
I mean, I think that we also take the position, if there's any knowledge or anything that we can do to help, the answer is always yes. We'll figure out how to work together to just make sure that everybody's as successful as possible.
So moving forward, what are your plans for, citywide, statewide? Are you implementing some new products right now? Some new like October or fall, line of products that will be rolling out soon, winter products?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. So we will be. We have a citywide stout that we're going to be coming out with in November. So it's going to be the first line extension in citywide since Citywide Pilsner was released 4 years ago. And so again, just like brand recognition, just making sure that we're continuing to build citywide within the portfolio. It's extremely important to our portfolio. And we almost look at it as a brand within a brand.
What's the feedback been so far with the veterans and the people that you're providing the homes for? Because it seems like it's still kind of in the production stage right now, but people are starting to move into these places?
Yeah, I mean, feedback's been great. The partnership's been great. And I think that that's really what it's about. It's about the partnership and educating ourselves. And we just continue to learn and we continue to grow. And I think selfishly that's important to us. When we opened up the brewery, there were 1,400 breweries in the country. Fast forward to today, there's 9,500, right? Which makes it seem like, I don't know, it's maybe not all that hard to brew beer and open up a brewery, but what can we do that's more than that? How do we go in and service our community? How do we support our community? How do we continue to learn in order to make sure that we're the best version of ourselves?
So you're helping out the nonprofits and things. Do you consider yourself a player for corporate sponsorship moving forward? We've got a soccer team, a baseball team. We've got a lot of youth tournaments, Missouri Valley things, NCAA events coming to town. You're going to try to jump on board with this maybe someday?
I think that we try and keep that big, broader sponsorship to somebody else. We like feet on the street and boots on the ground, and really just kind of looking at just more opportunities that are a little bit more in our sphere.
If a veteran out there would like to get involved with this program and maybe look at possibly getting one of these tiny homes, what should they do?
So they should reach out to Veterans Community Project. Yeah, Brian's the president over there, and he's an outstanding human being.
Veterans Community Project. Yeah. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today on City Corner. We really appreciate you, what you're doing here in St. Louis. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's our show for today. We especially like to thank Terea Goodwin and Kevin Lemp for joining us in studio. We'd like to thank you for watching City Corner on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.